Yes, y'all! It is DC for Thursday, January 4th. Tepper, managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and Thompson.
Hello, Gregory.
Our perfectly adequate digital compliment. Episode 55. Boy, you got some choices here. Ross Wolf.
When you say you got
Robinson Tejeda. Few options there. Willie, right-hander, if I remember correctly. Live, we're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. I do need to get a pedestal mic.
That has been added to the new studio.
I brought that up. Excellent transition there, Max.
I am exceptional, as I said.
Which is Friday, January 15th.
Demolition Day.
They are tearing down already, and so we have to be out because there's just asbestos everywhere. So we've got to be out tomorrow. So there's no show tomorrow. We do have a show Monday, though. Tune in.
What we know about Monday. All this stuff that's on the ground this weekend.
Yeah.
The walls will be painted up.
Well, we could do it in just a blank studio.
It may be a very boring show. There quite literally might be nothing behind us.
Like a visually boring.
The whole thing on hiatus for another week. Around us.
Well,
it'll look even more.
It did before, right? Before on the air.
Okay.
Because last night I was watching Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Holds up. If you haven't seen it lately, it's still hot movies.
Yes. To say is the movie that you love that heard of, or at best have only vaguely heard of and have no. Okay.
Which is weird because it's from a guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
Such a good movie. Things happen.
The Running Man.
The Running Man.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, basically futuristic game show. They have to run like basically a really fun, really fun. Every once in a while it will show 3 hours. It's only like 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Both very obscure and very nerdy movies. All right, so Talking Heads film.
Oh my god.
From the 1980s, and not like a part of this movie, as like a running in the 80s. It is David Byrne, lead singer of the Talking Heads.
Wow. Interesting. No,
and the other weird movie, but I love it, and it's probably because my dad would Brain Candy. A weird movie too.
Never seen it.
But those are the two for me. Talking about it because we lost Alan Rickman, famed actor. People will sit here and go, "Oh, but for you and me, in one way, was Dogma. Of all movies. Sure, we probably watched too much and loved too much.
There was a moment in my youth for a filmmaker who's ever was just great and still is great. Boy, howdy, that is with Alanis Morissette as God, which is pretty fabulous.
As it should be.
We are a football show, though. Yeah. A little later, believe it or not, we will be joined by him. You talked to him yesterday, and then
he said never happened. Very
luck.
Apologetic, very nice. He doesn't need to apologize to us for that.
No, he doesn't owe us. Kind of, yesterday we talked about the Big 12 potentially having a vote today, and the vote went there. The Big 12 of deregulation, which means that they can remain at 10 teams and come through, and it got voted in. So the Big 12 does net conference championing.
Yes.
The way that it would work would be that the top, even though it would be a rematch every time because they have a round, they would have a rematch. It is considered a big win now.
Right.
They now go to,
and Bob Bowlesby has gone out of his way to say, "Hey, we
the conference vote and figure."
Right.
Let me tell you why this may in fact be 12.
Oh,
bad news for the long. Simply put, team conferences are not 10-team major conference.
Right.
Realignment at the teams that were okay. The SEC had the ACC had 12. Still
right.
Okay. Fewer than 12 teams, or fewer than 10 that didn't. Well, what did they do?
Expanded.
They went out there. They went to more than 10 teams.
Yeah.
Anybody seen the Big East lately?
East. They're gone.
The Big East is gone. It's now part of.
So this is going well so far.
I'm gonna lump them into a major conference.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to consider the Mountain West, but the Mountain West that are still, or the conference that is still around, major or minor, had 10 or fewer teams then. And that's the Sun Belt.
The most minor.
Essentially a starter league.
Yeah.
Sun Belt. But every other team. So what does that mean? Well, 10 teams. You are more of a... Nobody is coming to pick off your teams.
Right.
Nobody's going to the ACC and saying, ooh, okay, or we want to take... No, it's the opposite. To consolidation. Okay?
This is my fear.
That's the only way that... Look at the Pac-10. I think the Pac-10 followed...
Right.
Which is that they grabbed... Who else did they grab? There's
Utah?
Utah.
Yeah.
All set now.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Power 5 major outlier...
Uh-oh.
And it's the Big 12.
Oh, yeah.
With 10 teams. Beyond repair.
No. You saw the Oklahoma...
No.
This isn't enough.
And you
this
know
doesn't
what?
make us stronger.
So to other conferences in the championship game. I think that all three of these disadvantages need to be addressed. Addressing only one without addressing all strength of the conference. And you know what?
He's right.
David Bourne's game, everything's fixed. If anything, that gives the Big... Well, yeah. And tries to take... 12 comes calling. The Big 10 comes calling.
This is tough for me because I hate Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing the Lord's work right now for the Big 12.
They're trying.
I hope they dig their heels in.
I think this is a bad of the Big 12. And I think that only going to, as I said, give them a sense of this is not good. I think that the Big 12 needs to come to their team in a best your teams.
Yeah.
Because and get picked off. Boy, West Virginia would look great, or it would look great in a newly reconfigured Big 12. When you are the weakest of the strong, when you are the smallest of the bigs, you're just going to get picked on. Yeah. And I think that this is the conferences. You can be our farm system, setting up the Big 12 to be.
Yeah, like you could just go.
And I think that it is.
And 2 teams will be left on the outside, and too bad for them.
At 10 teams, the most easily dissolvable.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity to expand. And as I said, this is not. But they got to get back up to 10 to 12 teams.
Yeah.
I don't think there's 12 teams.
Well, the problem is the other part of it is the thing that actually is motivating them that offset $42 million basically.
Mm-hmm.
That makes them realize that the money they have is they're just going to do this.
I think that this was the best opportunity for the Big 12 to welcome in a team like Houston. Because now your best chance will say no to the conference championship game. And I think maybe you should, because in a lot of ways,
you added a championship game. So what? And the second beats the undefeated team.
Yeah.
Then you've knocked yourself out.
Yeah. Then all
whole thing's so stupid.
I just don't. I'm going to use this as an excuse to stay complacent, and I think that if you stay complacent, you're doomed.
Stupid.
It's gonna be bad. We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. We're on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's, and we're on Instagram. We are trying to vamp and get remarkable stories, and one of the more remarkable champions from last year that had always, but they bust through this year. They are joining us on the phone line now to talk the Galena Park North Shore Mustangs. It is Coach Jon Kay.
I apologize.
Listen, we've all got bosses, okay? If my boss, the show's over. So
yeah, well, like I said, it was a little scary for me. That was my. Hey, we got through it, and we're going to live to fight another day.
Excellent. Shoreland, you guys still celebrating the 6A Division I state championship. I go back, remarkable win over Austin West. Whenever you were being interviewed after the game, when did it finally sink in as to what?
It's such a tough question. I get asked it quite often, and I think it's just we're creatures of habit, and when you're used to being in the grind and everything you're thinking about is the next game, you just kind of naturally go back to that. And it was a confusing time for us just because of the amount of work that gets put in, not just for the people playing in the state finals, but for all coaches throughout the state of the 7-day grind and the 20 weeks. It's just kind of what do we do next? And, that was it was a new experience for us. When we did win it in '03, it was a 15-game schedule, so we had that week to kind of come back to school and decompress and clean out lockers and celebrate with the kids and talk about things and take a picture and the things that go along with that kind of an honor. And with the 16-game schedule, you don't have that, and I wasn't prepared for that. We spent so much time with these kids, and then all of a sudden it's over. It's like stepping off a cliff. And that confusion just of, are we going to see them again? And you got 2 weeks off, and, or do we get all the uniforms back, and when's off season? And, it was just obviously an opportunity to stop and reflect during the break. But it's just it was a kind of a surreal situation.
Absolutely. And this, your squad, I want to take you back to September 18th. You've just lost to U.S. Trinity for 1-3. A moment at one, it may not be.
No, it'd be perfectly honest with you. And I think we get into a 41-40 with under 2 minutes to go against Manville. I make the decision to go for hot, and I thought they were going to be outstanding to go for 2 at that point. And, the ball gets picked off and they return it, and you end up losing 43-40, and then you get into the Westfield game, and our kids battled back. We took a late lead, and then they got one. Then we started to drive the field, and Ed Oliver causes a big fumble, and, you were just standing on the doorstep. And, we go play Euless, and you take a 5-point lead at the half. And, they kind of had their way with us in the second half, and we knew we were going to have to make some adjustments. But the fact that we were just in those games, and we knew we were close. I mean, we knew internally when you're watching the video how close we were. I think we understood we had an opportunity to run the table if we were going to fix some of those things. And like I said a million times, we learned so much about our ball club that we knew if we could just address the things that we learned, that we'd have a fighting shot. And, we had some breaks go our way, obviously, through the course of the playoffs. And I've been on the other side of those in my career, too. But, obviously we were able to do some things at the right time to get to where we needed to be.
The thing that struck me during your playoff run is that you guys had a pretty state champion, in the sense that with a lot of teams used to when Allen has done it, they've just gone out and really win by 7 against Cy Falls, a very good Cy Falls team. You guys win, and then you go to the title game and you need overtime to take close games. I
think, we kind of made the decision as a staff to kind of go in the direction of to steal a baseball term, just playing small ball, of understanding that our defense is playing good, with the exception of the state championship game. Our special teams were fantastic, specifically against, the Cy Falls and the Dickinsons and the Converse Judsons. And, it was a conscious decision on our staff. And I thought our offensive staff did a great job of just keeping us in the ball games and understanding the goal of scoring more points than they. And I think sometimes teams get into that where they got to prove they're the smartest people on the field and just take shot after shot to try and get that score to where it looks good. And I thought our offensive staff did a great job of just putting our kids in position of making sure at the end of the game we had more points, whether it looked good or not. And I do. I think our kids understood that with the string of close games, that we had a shot so long as there was time left on the clock, and that's just the way they played.
We're talking with Jon Kay, the head coach of the 6A Division I state champion. Involved the conversation hashtag. Coach, going into that championship, the Dragon and Allen and head on the block, what a really red hot Westlake team that had to be feeling.
I was really, really impressed with the receiving core. I thought their offensive line was as well coached as anyone. I was so impressed with the way that they pressured. They fought themselves out of some situations. Impressed with their football team, and obviously Coach Dodge has a great. For us, it was what we just talked about. Let's contain them. Let's make them throw the ball. A caliber of athlete, and I think our kids, especially in the balls, they had probably. We just times easier said than done, but kind of go in there and ground and pound, and I couldn't have been more pleased with the way the kids executed.
You quarterback yourself, one of the more unique signal callers in the state in being quarterback. As the guy who sees him every day and sees him in practice, pile long apart from other signal callers.
You get to that point at 16-game season, you're essentially playing an NFL season. Nobody's more banged up than I think people realized, and took such a pounding through the course of the year, and was already banged up for an injury sustained at the end of the year, his sophomore year, and played with a brace last year. And there's a few times in that game where he had to come out and stretch and just get himself mentally prepared to go back in. So I don't know that everyone truly understands the amount of pain the kid was playing with, and just to see him go out there and battle, especially in some of those short yardage situations against a very, very good defense. I was proud of his toughness. And, again, that's a term that I think gets overused a lot, but it certainly fits in this situation.
The defense led the way for you guys all year long, and the guy that everybody brings to the nation, one of the best defensive backs you've seen in Texas high school, have a knack for the big play whenever you need him. What are people going to see when he gets to the next?
At the next level, he's definitely one of those guys. But I've seen that before, where some people that were blessed with some stress on that and feel entitled to the success. And I think Eric would separate work ethic. That's going to separate him. And this is a kid that and not push himself and still be best during the summer than I'd see in routes, or he's working catching the ball. He really taught himself how to play over into this this next level of.
You guys will enter guys like Eric. Who should people know about for
defensively? Obviously, championship game and Caleb Chason, and he's going to be high, but understands what it takes. And so he's obviously going to stand here that we feel really, really good about. We feel like are going to be great players. In Jalen, there's some guys there that I feel have an opportunity to this year on the defensive line, and April Harris. I'll miss those guys on defense that are leaving, but we've got some guys that we feel good about. Offensively, Bryant Beatty, if called upon, and if he earns that job this spring, also was a tremendous receiver for us. And frankly, Troy Potts at receiver is going to return, and players and some guys with some experience to give us an opportunity, but it's going to obviously depend on.
Relax right now? Is there any sort of relaxation that goes on in your world?
There really isn't, and that's one thing about playing that deep is this school on January 5th has just been hit. Obviously, we want our kids to have an opportunity to celebrate this, especially being back today. It's about getting ready for 2016. Logistics that you take for granted that normally get addressed. Wouldn't trade that for the world. I don't have a problem, but it has made our January.
To have. He is Jon Kay. He is the head coach of the Galena Park North Shore. On with us. Good luck.
We'll get there, Greg. I appreciate everything you guys do for high school football in this state, and let us know if you need anything down in Houston.
Hey, we have the North Shore Mustangs. That's so interesting that he goes is good, but that also means that you're doesn't work, which I suppose is
true.
It's the grind. It's the best possible problem to have.
Yeah.
With us here on DCTF Live. Remember, we are off tomorrow because we have. At DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. Please come get your Player of the Year trophy, and we will see you doing it. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy.